Hey guys, I'm here with Justin Delhon, and what did you do this weekend?
I went 7-0 at the Edmonton Regionals with
Eh,
Salamangreat.
Salamangreat. So
Yeah.
before we get started, I want to ask, what made you want to play Salad of all things?
I don't play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, and I didn't want to learn something new for a regional just because I was just going to play with my friends. We had a bunch of people come to town, so it was like the whole group was going. So I wanted to play something that was like good into the meta I was aware of, and Salamangreat's really good into like detonator and any sort of destruction. And I also didn't want to play anything that my opponents would be fully knowledgeable about. So this was kind of the perfect deck choice.
Sounds good. And how were your matchups? Did you play against a lot of meta, or what did you
I don't
see?
know. It's right after the ban list. So one, I told my friends I'm not going to play if Dweller is not banned because every deck I play loses to Dweller, and it's not a fun card. So when that got unhit, I didn't know what to expect at the regional, but I played 7 different decks. I played Malice. I played a bunch of Fiendsmith variants, Crystron, which I'd never seen before, Fire King, which I had never played against before, and yeah, it was literally 7 different decks. So that was fun for someone who doesn't play a lot.
All right, sounds good. Okay, let's get started.
So the first card I played was Terratop. This is my favorite card in the deck. It just gives you a layer of play before you even start your combos. I figured out a combo with it after or right before the regional that made it a lot better. So this is just definitely one of the best cards in the deck. It's a pretty low Salamangreat count. Obviously 3 Gazelle, which is like normal, but just one of all the other names that I consider mandatory. Obviously, just recursion and a way to extend, a way to extend, a way to extend, and a starter. The only reason I didn't want to play more of these is they all kind of actually do the same thing relatively. Obviously, this one doesn't extend, but you just kind of need 2 Salamangreat names in rotation with Gazelle to play. So I didn't want to just like flood the deck with these, especially because you have Terratop to access so much of it, and I'll show you why after. So that's those. And then I played 1 Sea Archiver. Didn't need to play this. I figured out after the tournament a combo to do without this. With the Terratop, I was playing this strictly because of Terratop. I guess I can just go into it now so it like makes sense from the extra deck. So I was just using Terratop to get to the Stalio, but I actually realized that this is the card to make because you can use this Terratop Talking Tomborg, make this, and cost send this, and now you have a level 3 engraved. So if you have no normal summon but you have Ash, you can normal summon the Ash, trigger this to come out to the other arrow, and you have somewhat of a combo. But most of the time, what I ended up sending was Spinny because you almost always have a Salamangreat. So this card should have just not been in the deck because I played 41, and I should have played All Mirage because the All Mirage actually would have been the card to get me the Salamangreat monster as a normal summon and then bring back Spinny and Spinny search the field spell and then do full combo. This is just a worse version of that, so definitely not needed. And then the reason I play so few Salamangreat monster names is because you just have so much access to them in the deck with these 6 cards as well. So I just didn't want to draw too many Salamangreats. And then these two, this is the card I'm almost always searching off Raging Phoenix. And then this is a card that's relatively new to the deck. It's really good. It's an interruption on your opponent's turn, and it's an extender on your turn. The only reason I didn't want to play more than one of it is it does require 3 Fires Engraved for the Reborn effect. So if you brick, this would contribute to the bricking. But if you get stopped, this really helps you keep going. And then one of my other favorite cards to play is Desires. And so the low Salamangreat count, sometimes you end up just having 3 names to play with, but it's actually just fine. Like, this just draws so many good cards. And then these two. And then played 3 Fua, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Impulse, and then the 2 Bestials. I'll just go over, this is like mandatory in Salamangreat because it's a really good card to discard with mining because you can just add it back. This to me is obvious. I actually I didn't like this card very much, but I understood why I was playing it. It was definitely good when you're going second. The issue I have with it is I really don't like when my hand traps get stopped, and they just made the ban list a lot harder for hand traps to get stopped because crossout went to 1 and tactics doesn't stop it, but you know what I mean. The issue I had with this is a lot of times it was getting either ashed or called by, and I want my hand traps to actually interact with my opponent. And so, not that it's a bad card, but it weirdly didn't serve its function more often than not, whereas all these other cards did serve their exact function. So it's weird. It's so broken, the ceiling's so high, but not my favorite hand trap. But definitely good to have in the deck strictly for siding patterns, because it's the easiest card to side out and not take out any engine when you're going first, and you know you're going first. So these, I just wanted to have access to the Fiendsmith outs. I honestly don't know all the interactions with Fiendsmith, so I wanted a cheat code to like deal with it. And then this definitely was the best hand trap, but you have to be careful with this. Whatever, I'll grab it later. With these guys, because you're not allowed to use this effect to add this if you use the impulse. So one thing that's really good about this card is if it was the, what's the other one called? Purge? If it was Purge, this would be a lot worse. Like if Salamangreat had to play Purge, then this would be very difficult because it's hard to ash your opponent on your own turn. But this effect to stop a special summon comes up a lot on your opponent's turn. For example, Blue Eyes, it's just better to hold this. When you're playing against I played against what's it called, Fiendsmith Unchained. This card really helps crack the board. So anytime you open both of these, I would just do my very best to hold this if I could against the matchup. Obviously, there's times there's not, but worst case, this is just a special summon if you use this. So it doesn't conflict that much because of the fact that this can be used on your own turn. Then I think that's everything there, and then. I went through all the main deck, my bad. So that it's 41 cards, should have been 40. And then the extra deck is one Stalio. I do my best to make this late in the combo, not early, because if you can keep going without making this and they nib you or they interrupt you, it's just a really, really strong way to like push through everything. 3 Balinks, 3 Sunlight Wolf. This is not a card most people I saw playing 3 of. I only want to play 3 because I used Jaguar a lot to put back Raging Phoenix and then Stalio. So I found that when I didn't have the third one, it was really like difficult for me to like play the grind game, because this is a very low to the ground deck. I was like joking with my friends, it's like literally underground. That's how low to the ground it is. It doesn't put up any negates. It doesn't put up any interruptions like face up on the field. It's just about the amount of advantage you generate and then like winning from the counter trap and just accumulating more cards. So 1 Heatleo, I just want to have access to back row removal. This card is the whole reason I want to play the deck, is just it adds any card in your entire deck to your hand. So this adds the counter trap, and then you chain block it with Weasel, summoning to their field, popping it with Princess, and popping the thing you give. So you just have infinite cards because of this. So then there was the Cherubini, which I really liked. Phoenix. This is probably the card that would have been Almirage for that combo. So it comes up, like definitely does come up to make it, but not that often. So I think this is the one I would have cut for Almirage. I played 1 SP Little Knight. You don't firelock yourself in this deck that much in the early stage. So cracking boards, especially with Terror Top, it's like a card you can make just with the Terror Top alone. It won't banish on field, but it can check a thing that's gonna like harm your continuance. So it's a card I really like. And also just Balinks into Gazelle into this and to keep going is a really strong play. And then Princess, and then arguably the best card in my extra deck was Hida. I'm not joking when I say this. I genuinely think if you can against this deck, you're supposed to side out Ash. Because if Ash is your second interruption, but it leaves them with 2 monsters. So let's say you go Imperm on the Gazelle and then Ash on the Stalio. Well, if there's 2 monsters on the field and you have no more interruptions, then the Ashing Stalio did nothing, because Hida just brings back the Ash, turns it into Princess, turns that into Raging Phoenix, and you search the field spell, and then you have full combo. So it's weird because Ash has so many good cards to hit, but it's also like a double-edged sword. So this was by far the card I made the most in my extra deck, not named Salamangreat and Princess, just because I don't blame people. They were ashing things that you're supposed to ash. It just, they ended up losing because of it. And then side deck, 3 Lancia. I sided 3 Droll just for like, I didn't know what the meta was going to be, and I didn't know if water was going to be a big thing. I didn't want to main Droll, so I decided to side it, and just for the matchups where they do obnoxiously like adding. And then, but a card I really liked, Shared Ride. This card's just kind of like fooing a lot of decks on their turn, so this was a card I really, really liked. this deck hurts to Fua. Like, it really hurts to get Fua. So this was a card I liked siding in, knowing that if they Fua, any Charmy really, that I could set this and give them a few cards, knowing I'm going to get cards back. And then the other advantage of this card is people don't really know how to play through it, because most people are used to playing through Droll, but people are uncomfortable in scenarios where they get to combo, but also they're generating cards for their opponent. So it's kind of an interesting card. 1 Duster, 1 Storm, 1 Thrust. I wanted to play 2 Thrust, but I only had 1, so that was why I only played 1. It was supposed to be 1 Barrier and 2 Thrust, but it ended up being 2 Barrier, 1 Thrust, just because. And then 1 Rage. I wanted 1 more Trap when I went first, so that if I got hit with a Charmy, I had double the chance of opening. Basically, if I got Charmied, I wanted to have a chance of opening this, certain matchups, just... or one of these, depending, just something where I knew that I could stop them somewhat on my turn. So that was kind of the idea behind deciding the second trap. And then if I did combo, the Gazelle could send this, the counter trap, and then the Raging Phoenix could send this. So now you have the counter trap to protect you from these cards, and then this to just blow out their push. So that was kind of the reason behind that. And that is the deck.
All right, sounds good. Well, that was great. Was there any shout outs or anything you wanted to say before we finish off?
Shout outs to my friends for wanting to play a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. I don't remember the last time I played a regional, but I was glad they came down. It was fun to see everyone. Shout out to Combox Games, and then shout out to my Fire King opponent for a 2.5 hour round that I'll never get that time back. That was fun.
Sounds good. All right. I guess we'll see you at the next regional then.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Thanks.